mission of your group, all right? And that you can write the same as well because we need for our record in our chat. So name, the association and institution of the university or the group you are a member, and the mission of it, and also, of course, the way to contact you, right? So thank you very much to be here with us. So I address my two fellows, the Brazilian team that is working today with me. I am Argentinian Italian. And those two girls that they are going to help us today. They are coming from Brazil. So can you address yourself, ladies, Silvia and Flavia?
Okay. My name is Silvia Fittipaldi. I work with Flavia in CGCSSE, the Center of Creation of Communication and systematization of educational tools for empowerment at all ages, not really elderly, but and my specialty is communication and design. And I really study languages, symbolical languages.
Okay, my name is Flavia. I'm passionate about mediation, how groups interact and all these dynamics. So I'm very much into all types of experimentations, you know, restorative justice, nonviolent communication, and name it. And also I work at CGCSSE, and for those who don't know, CGCSSE, one of the founders was Paulo Freire, and also Eduardo Coutinho. I'm very happy to be part of the team, and I'm a new person on this group here, so I'm more of a listener and curious, but I will make questions, and that's it. And I'm happy to be here.
Okay. Natalie.
You want me to go next? I feel like Flavia has the same introduction as I would have said. Maybe the last part, I was like, okay, Natalie with Communities in Transition. I love anything mediation, dialogue, community dynamics, group dynamics. So yes, ditto. And let me pick Matthew.
Hello, everybody. Matthew Slats. I'm a PhD student at the University of Virginia at the moment, but I'm also working with a bunch of people in Virginia to start a Solidarity Economy Network. It's good to see others from other groups. But my research is really focusing on social transformation in the Southern US, looking at it from a Black radical tradition and a municipalist lens. So that's what I'm doing. I will pass it on to Boyd.
Hi, my name is Boyd Rossing. I'm recognizing a few names here. I retired from UW, University of Wisconsin-Madison in 2008. My career was focused on community change and community building processes. And I worked with the statewide and national cooperative extension network. But since retiring, I've expanded and deepened my my engagement in my reading and writing. Recently, I've been coordinating a series on dual power for the Symbiosis North American Confederation. I think some of you have participated in that. My interests, well, as a longtime university academic, of course, I'm concerned about the future of universities but I've become a little bit pessimistic about the role that they can play in deep change, beyond, of course, the importance that they bring in their scholarship. So I'm more focused on bottom-up community work than directly changing university. Nonetheless, I'm interested, so that's why I'm participating in these, to see an effort to really change the concept of what a university can be. I'm sorry that I went on so long, but I think I have that questions.
That is very exciting.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting. May I introduce myself? My name is Fernando Shalcita. I'm an anthropologist. I work at the Ateneo de Manila. That is a Jesuit university in Manila, in the Philippines. My advocacy has always been cultural heritage and its role in helping give people a sense of identity. Of course, cultural heritage has many aspects. It can be used in helping regenerate cities. And now I'm also concerned about cultural heritage and climate change, because we're facing a severe climate change. One of the things I've been telling my students is actually traditional food crops can help stave off global warming, or at least serve as a response to global warming.
Right.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Miguel?
Okay. Hello. Well, my name is Miguel. I'm originally from Japan, but since I've been here in Valencia, Spain for 9 years, where I finished my PhD on social economy. And, I'm a co-founder of Instituto de la Moneda Social, local currency institute here in Spain. And, my main involvement with the social and solidarity economy is in the field of local currencies such as Banco Palmas in Brazil. But, as one of the field guides from Asia, I'm trying to involve Asia. And today I'm very happy to see Professor Fernando Shalcita join our session.
Yeah.
My name is Ben Oko. I'm from Kenya, and I'm really happy to be part of this meeting and always happy to be with you. I work with an organization called Amani Kibera, who care for each other and also care for the environment. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, thank you, Ben. We have been before together. Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you for
Alicia,
coming.
Miguel, Sylvia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks very much to be here. Yeah.
thanks.
Please write your main ways, some data in the chat. All of you, please. Thank you. Silvia, ¿me escuchas? Silvia, do you hear me?
Yes. Alicia.
Okay, I can hear you. So go ahead. It's not very good today. So go ahead.
Yeah. Are we going to present the PowerPoint? Yeah.
Did everybody introduce themselves? I feel like we're
I
missing.
don't know. Kathleen. I think Kathleen just introduced it very quickly, but not really.
Sure, I can go. Thank you. Yes, I'm Caitlin Shoring. I'm here today because my advisor, Jackie Smith at the University of Pittsburgh, couldn't make it and asked if I could. But my own work is involved in movements fighting privatization of water in Brazil and in the US. So I think that I'm also interested in what's going to be discussed here today and happy to join you all.
Okay. You said you were working in water movements?
Yes, so movements, so our water campaign here in Pittsburgh, which is a coalition fighting against private-public partnerships and privatizing our water. But I'm also, my research and my activism are engaged with various movements in Brazil and specifically Movimento dos Atingidos por Barragens, or MABI.
Then could you write this down at the chat, because I couldn't understand the name of the movement in Brazil?
Sure, I'm happy to write it in the chat. And also just want to state though that here today I am representing me as an individual.
Oh, okay, okay. So you're going more to report to her. Is that the point?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, but now you said I'm interested. Okay, and let's go.
Me too. I'm curious to know about the people here in Brazil. If you can write down the contacts.
David.
Hey y'all, my name is David. I'm a popular educator at the Highlander Research and Education Center. We've been around since 1932, fighting for justice and sustainability and working using popular education at our center in the mountains of East Tennessee, and supporting people's movements all across the South as they fight for liberation. So I'm here, I'm the program director for our economics and governance program. So we have a popular education curriculum that helps communities understand their economy and their governance structures and understand capitalism, and then also understand alternatives in the solidarity economy, from solidarity economy from all over the world, and get inspired to do amazing things in their own backyards. So excited to be with y'all.
David, look at the book. It's my Bible. Look at here. Look at this guy. You know him, huh?
Yeah, we know something about that guy.
Yeah. Miles Horton.
That's our founders.
I know.
Our mutual founders.
Look, I love it. I love it.
Right?
Did Camicia introduce herself?
Alicia? Oh, Camicia.
Can you continue? Okay.
Camicia, we can hear you.
Have we ended, Flavia?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Natalie. No, I hadn't. Also, thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. This is so pleased. Regularly. But anyways, my name is Camicia. I learned about this through the SEN newsletter. I learned about that through the People's Hub, which is a really cool sort of, how should I say, training and community capacitation network. But I'm here just as myself. I actually used to live in Argentina, so I have a bit of a soft spot there, and followed a bit of the progression of the Afro-Argentine movements as well as the educational resources there. Also used to be a popular educator, so cool to see Highlander Center and all these Furian folks online. But yeah, I'm most recently, I worked for the civil rights organization, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, that Martin Luther King Jr. had founded. And I am here of my own accord right now. I'm kind of in an exploratory moment of life. Originally, I'm from the Caribbean, from Trinidad and Tobago, specifically Tobago, which is a very small island. And I'm also very committed to the preservation of traditional food systems and traditional medicine knowledge. And professionally, I am trying to combine things to get to work more actively in the translation of knowledges, and that's something I see as a decolonial activity. So anyways, that's me, not a, not coming from an institution really or an organization right now, but that's a little my background.
Okay. Okay, Camicia, please, can you write your address and your data so we have your name in order to contact you?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
We still have a few people left, but I don't know if they want to speak or if they want just to write down. Luciana, no? Haven't done, correct? I think.
There is someone in Spanish asking for translation. I can make it, right?
Oh, he must be.
Okay, so anyone else that wants to address? Luciana, do you want to address yourself, please? Luciana Ballestero is there? Flavia, do you hear me?
Yes, maybe if she does not understand. Oh, she's asking for a translation. Okay, so, hola Luciana, bienvenida. Yo hablo portuñol.
Okay.
Yo no
So
hablo
Luciana, okay.
Mira,
Okay.
estamos en el encuentro en inglés, pero tenemos en español también, pero este es en inglés.
Mira, Luciana. Hola. No. Okay. I think.
Flavia, please, Flavia, please, okay? Flavia and Silvia, are all the people, because I don't see all of them, are all the people have addressed themselves? Have they addressed themselves, all of you?
I think so.
All right, so we can start, we start with the main theme, please?
Yeah, honestly, I don't remember Ben.
So all of you hear me, okay?
Okay. Okay,
All
Sylvia.
right.
All right.
Thank you. Do you hear all of you? All of you hear me well, please? Can you tell me, the people? Yeah, thank you. Can you make like this? Because I have not a good connection, so I am not sure about my personal reading to you. Okay, right? Okay, so now, concerning the Good Living University, and how is this meeting going to develop? We're trying to fix in an hour and a half, okay? So now we have been in 25 minutes, more or less, a little bit less. So let's go to the PowerPoint, please, Sylvia. So our people, how is it, what is the proposal in order to develop it? So the idea that you are going to find now, I am going to read it very slowly, and please stop me. The idea is to have a look at this, please, right? So first, the welcome. We are in the welcome part. That is to say, let's try to rush now. So first, giving our names, we have done it, mission, and webpage, and email. Now we are going to have a look at watch the PowerPoint with the main objectives of the Good Living University. That is the first part. Then we are going to be spread, that it is moment 2, we are going to be break into groups in order to exchange ideas and proposals to the university. That is going to take 30 minutes. And then we are going to make the moment 3, that it is a plenary. We are going to try to summarize the conclusions of all the groups, decide the next steps and the next events we are going to report you. So we are now in the moment 1 that we have addressed ourselves, and now we are going to the presentation. But you can ask and you can stop the presentation in order to ask questions as well, all right? So let's go for it. So thank you, Flavia. Let's go to the first. Okay, so the first point, I'm going to read it, please, if you can follow me. What is the previous process that we have done? So first of all, you have to know that the Good Living University is a democratic invention, really, that it is, we have started in the, it's an idea starting in the 4th anniversary of the campaign for the curriculum for a social and solidarity economy. And that invention is related to didactics for good living. We have that exercise as well, and it is coming from the movements, the social movement. So the starting point, that is to say number 2 here in the PowerPoint, is the initiative presented on September the 3rd. So we have only now 1 month and a half, right? And so in the organizing meeting of the World Social Forum for Transformative Economies, the World Social Forum of Transformative Economies, we proposed to try to organize a good living university to the people. And that was, it was a very good proposal. I mean, very many organizations joined to that idea and joined to the idea of good living. That is number 3, please. Good living. What is good living? El buen vivir in Spanish. Sometimes you will find it in Spanish. Very many times it's coming Vivir University, not Good Living University. So we use the original concept, no? And the good living is the epistemic paradigm that operates as a platform for the campaign for a global curriculum of solidarity and social economy. And the good living is part of its principles. I mean, it is part of the principles of the global curriculum for solidarity and social economy. And what is the foundations of this university and this idea? So the idea is coming from accumulated experience of movements, from networks and social organizations that are talking in forums towards other economies, that are talking in forums on ethical finance and networks for solidarity and feminist economies. Also, the idea is coming from struggles for climate justice and mainly also from pedagogies for the construction of culture of peace. So the foundations of this University of Good Living, as you see, is mainly coming from the roots. So from the base of the movements and trying to make something that joined all these ideas. So it's also showing to the Earth Care framework and to multicultural meetings and original people spaces. So look at 4. 4 is very important because here in these groups, yes, keep on 4, please, Sylvia. So all these movements, we invite you to have a look very carefully, because all these groups, that it is quite a large number of them, coming from different origins, really tries to join in one thing. I mean, they try to join a general idea, and the general idea is good living. Because all of them, in a way, have these good living principles in their mission and vision, coming from feminist economies, or coming from original people movements, or coming from culture of peace education and global citizenship education. All of them joined this idea of good living as epistemic paradigm. So it's important to have a look at all that kind of groups that are joining in order, or gathering in order to have this idea. To 5 now, please, Sylvia. So the principles is this. Please also take in consideration this, because it is basic. Education is decolonial. We have been discussing in our first meeting about this concept of decolonial. It is a decolonial challenging the paradigm that considers that as we are against the land as merchandise, the bodies as merchandise, and all forms of merchandise. So education can be more related to spiritual and thinking than the merchandise thinking. So the pedagogical proposal, that is number 6, is the disobedience to all that paradigms that are colonial. So the idea of good living criticize the Eurocentrism, criticize the capitalism, and the epistemic and patriarchal racism. So the pedagogical proposal tries to learn from communal, non-capitalist, non-colonial way of reproduction of life. So we are based in the communities and not based in the political power, no? That comes from money. So the pedagogical proposal in number 7 is to try to create a process, a formative process, coming out from projects that are originated in movements, in the original people, and this process try to respond to materialism and tries to develop and to respond to the spiritual and cultural needs. Pedagogical proposal try to answer and to respond to the needs coming from the movement, from the people. So all this movement is not alone. Really, it has been developing in the land. The name is the pedagogies from the South, no? Epistemological territories of the South and the South perspectives. The South means the South of Africa, continent, and Asia and Latin America, means the pedagogy from the south, Pedagogías del Sur in Spanish, that you can find it. And there are now a lot of bibliography and readings that you can go. We can send you as well a good reference list or a good bibliography list on that. And also it had been developing as a framework from Boaventura dos Santos, the professor coming from Portugal. So you see that it is also the south of Europe working on this idea. So Southern Europe, Boaventura dos Santos is Portuguese, by the way, and south of Europe and south of Asia and Asian countries. Here we have a professor from Philippines that is quite active in this. And then the south of Africa and the south of America. And of course, all America that wants to join this idea. So what are the pedagogical proposals in number 8? So we try to have practices in the inquiry, interrogative, and deepen contents concerning to situations that violate the rights and threaten the dignity of the people and the communities. So we try to work on these issues that very many times the traditional universities don't pay attention to them. I mean, the needs and the dignity of peoples and communities. That maybe, we don't know till now, we are working on that, maybe the main themes of this university, right? So here you have on 6, 7, and 8, the pedagogical proposals. And we also can send, at the end of this meeting, we can send you the PowerPoint in order to share with your colleagues or to study more slowly what we are proposing here, right? So let's go for the next one, please, Sylvia. Political design. So again, the university is structured with movements, with social organization, with campaigns that are coming from decolonial, non-capitalist, anti-racist networks that are everywhere, not only the South, we know. So we try to articulate with groups of diverse origins that are present in university spaces related to these objectives. So we are trying to link also with universities or with research centers in the universities that work in these issues that we know where they are. There are very many universities in the north as well that work with some things that we are talking here. So we try to base the philosophy in these formative spaces cultivated by original people. Philosophy coming from the original communities and people from all the world, Africa, Asia, and America. And till now is part of our group, the Mayan people of Guatemala, for example, that they are working in these ideas. But of course, we are welcome to any other original groups that work with this political design. What are the preconditions and what are the preconditions of the emergence of this university? We are in number 10. The preconditions are the recognition of the limits and contradictions of the mainstream sciences in the Western civilization, the traditional universities. I mean, we are not satisfied, as Professor Boyd, Crossing Boyd had said, with the shape and the format of the universities today. We think that these universities that are so important and they have so much power, they don't respond to all the needs and emergencies of the people. So we open the doors of these universities and we want to join them, but recognizing the controversial themes that are needed to be discussed in universities. So we ask the people and we invite the people to discuss the emergence of new models. And this is what we find, it is not very universities. We invite the universities to discuss new senses, answering questions of old paradigms. And so to gather the old and the new ones. That's it. So how we are trying to create this university? But first by international meetings in several languages. We have had our meeting in Spanish. We had the first meeting in English that we have very many tech problems. So we decided to make another one in English that you are now. We are going to have a Portuguese meeting on October 28th, and also in French, Japanese, and Korean. And we have the great help of our colleague Miguel from Japan, that is making a great work in Asia, trying to invite Asian people to come to our meetings. So we thank very much Miguel in this work. Also, we try to make active participation in all. So to ask people to add to this solidarity project and discussing it. That is why we're going to break in small groups in order to have place to discuss how we can make it and what we can add to that. And what is our hope? This is number 12 and the last one. To make our children and grandchildren know.
Alicia, Luciana has her hand raised. Luciana.
Okay, so I end the 12 and then I hear that. Can we end the 12? That is why I'm trying to end the presentation, and then we hear all the question in this first part. So you read the 12. May our children and grandchildren know and recognize the responsibility of living in territories which have been cared for by their original people. And may we be open to a reflection, epistemological reflection, with thoughts and dialogical action to interface with what we have and try to invite to scientific pluralism that contribute to our everyday humanity life and to from and for spiritual ways of thinking. So this is a real invitation to try to gather the old paradigms with the new paradigms, but we have to discuss which is the new one. Okay, so let's go for the questions and the hands now, please. Right?
Luciana,
Yeah.
Luciana, you have to unmute yourself, please.
Yeah. Yes. Where are the questions? Can you close, please, the PowerPoint presentation so I can see the questions? Silvia? Yeah.
So Luciana, tú tienes la mano, o símbolo,
Luciana?
she used the device of the little
Okay.
icon. I don't know if she maybe pushed the button by mistake. I don't know.
Okay, so here I am reading the questions. Okay, so if you want to write the questions in the chat or you want to ask the questions. So I am open for
Oh, I think Sylvia just got herself frozen. Well, while she's frozen, maybe then Miguel can make his question. I don't know. Or should we wait a few seconds?
Well, in the meanwhile, I suppose it's better to, no, to have go ahead. My suggestion is simply that we should have this kind of presentation, but at another timetable, because today we started at 3 p.m. Spain, 11 a.m. Sao Paulo and Buenos Aires, which means 11 p.m. in Japan, midnight. Sorry, 1 a.m. in Sydney, Australia, and 3 a.m. in New Zealand. So of course, well, I'm not sure if we already have some contact with people from Australia, New Zealand, or Hawaii, but we really have to have another presentation, but not at this time zone. Perhaps a few hours late before, like for instance, 6 a.m. Brazil, which would be like 6 p.m. Which would be like 8 p.m. And yeah, 8 p.m. Sydney and 10 p.m. in New Zealand.
Okay, yeah, it's a good point. This time zone, it's always a challenge. Yes. Luciana has her hand still up, but I think Sylvia, are you there?
Yes.
I think we can, just to keep things moving,
Yeah.
maybe we could make the groups share, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
We are
like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I
We are 11. We can discuss it together if you want to split in 2 groups or if you want to talk with everybody together. What do you think, people? What do you think?
We have 14 people, not 11.
14.
So we can do 2 groups of 7. What do you guys think? We separate in 2 groups and then we come back together again. Now, do you want to show the slide with the question or just copy the question from the slide, Sylvia, on the chat? What do you think?
Yeah, I've saved the chat right now. And because if we split in groups, we lose the chat.
I know, but people can read the question. I don't know. Each
copy and paste the question in the chat.
Yes, because people can read it now before they go.
Okay. In the last meeting, Natalie made a question that I love it. She said, what is the question that we all or each one of us would make that we believe this group could answer or this initiative could answer? Which question it would be that each one of us would make?
Do you remember, Natalie, the question you make?
Yeah. I'm wondering, so I'm wondering if it'd be interesting to see what everybody would be willing to contribute to, or what, I don't know, I don't remember that question specifically. Sorry.
It was something like a question, a personal question of each one of us that would believe that our group today and now could answer. And something special to you, something special that this initiative, you believe this initiative could answer, something like that.
That sounds good.
No,
Silvia,
Oi.
você quer copiar o pessoal? Can you copy a pergunta do slide, the question from the also? Not, I think this question you brought up, it can be something to provoke people, but also, and other questions I'm sure will show up in the groups.
Okay.
You know, one thing that's swirling in my mind is what would be the first step? What is one contribution this group or we as individuals could do towards this vision that you guys laid out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the first step, or what is something that you're feeling is alive in you to contribute towards this vision at this point? And this could.
That's a good idea.
Okay, can you
Good
type
idea.
there? Would you we willing to type there, Natalie, in the chat what you just said, so we can have the. So it's good. It's great. Before we're going to, we brought up a question, and it's great to see other questions popping up now. So that's a warm up for us to go in the meeting to our groups.
Boyd has made a question, an intriguing and not very comfortable question about why do we choose university word idea?
Where is that? Oh, yes.
Don't you, Boyd? It's your name. I'm spelling your name correct, Boyd?
Sorry, I wanted to unmute. Yes, that's me. I did ask the question.
And
okay, so I'm putting here too. Okay, Boyd, if you allow me, I'm just copy it down to be close here. Okay.
Good morning here. Can I speak Spanish? Someone of you can translate?
I can try. Luciana, if you write down, it's better if you write it down than you speak. Puedes escrever en de hablar, es más fácil.
Okay.
Okay. Nosotros ahora estamos haciendo preguntas para nos dividir en dos grupos y las personas están trayendo preguntas para provocación de para nuestras reflexiones. Então, lo que tu pensas que pode ser nosso primeiro passo? 2, o que você sente que te llama para contribuir na direção desta visão? E lá 3, por que estamos usando o termo ideia de universidade? Is it good? Oh, Camicia, thank you. You can do that too. Good.
Yeah, sorry. De eso iba a decir que puedo traducir español o hacer, pues.
So maybe I should. So I'm going to divide the group. I'll put it together with Luciana.
Iba a decirte, Flavia iba a decirte que si no podías hablarme en portugués, pero bien que traduzca el inglés mejor, así evitamos más traducción.
Bueno, pero Camicia and Luciana, you guys can be in the same group. Camicia y Luciana no mismo grupo, ¿no?
Vale.
Vale? Okay. So I can tell that Alicia is out with bad connection. She hasn't come back yet. So how you guys feel that we divide now? And Sylvia, I don't have the presentation. What is the question in the presentation? Can you copy to the chat? I don't remember the question that was there. And
I don't think there was a question here.
There's no question there? No, there was something. There was an invitation.
Let me see. Choose a exchange ideas and proposals linked to the UBV.
Also exchange ideas, very open.
Ideas and proposals.
Okay.
Can't we have a question, because so that there'll be at least a focus?
Yeah, I think
because we can spend the whole night exchanging ideas, but
yeah.
this is a central question.
Thank you, Fernando. Thank you. So I think we just got 2 ideas. I think we haven't. I think I'm just trying to map out what's coming up.
There's
I think
3 questions in the chat.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. We already have 3 questions for the groups. Okay, Alicia is coming back. She's here in the waiting room. So what do you think we go on with those 3 questions, Fernando? Do you think we should narrow down, or do you think it's good enough?
And I guess it's always better to narrow down.
Okay, do you have a suggestion?
No, I think it's better to come from you, because you're the people who organize this thing. You have an idea. This whole thing is still rather vague to me, to be honest. So why don't you throw us a question?
Okay. All right, Alicia, let me just keep you to date. People, we are just start throwing out some questions here, and I'm gonna put them back on just all together so you to see. These are the 3 questions that came up. I've just put them all together on the chat. And the idea is to narrow down before we split in groups. It was a suggestion from Fernando that we focus in 1 question out of the 3. I don't know how the remaining of the group thinks about it, but yeah, we narrow 1. It doesn't mean that the other questions are not there in our minds, but so we are, and he feels that since we are the organizers, we should be the one choosing which question. I don't know which question to choose. I'm being very honest.
I would like someone could answer the first one to me.
Well, hello.
And I want to answer
now?
the second one. Okay, yeah.
I think
hello.
Suggestion.
Hello, do you hear me? Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay, sorry, no, but because my connection in Argentina is very, very bad because of the storms. All right. So the idea was that to take in groups in order to discuss in a free way, in an open way. If you want, you take 3 questions, but we are trying to repeat the same methodology that in the other groups. And in other groups, what we have done is to just open the discussion so the people say, what do you think first? So if you want to copy the 3 questions, okay. If not, you try to discuss about this.
it's bad. Connection is bad, Alicia. We cannot hear you. You are frozen again. You're frozen in the storm in Argentina.
At least Alicia needs to turn off the video. So no.
Yeah. If she turns, Alicia, if you turn off the video, maybe your connection gets better. And we can simply take a decision, split in group, and talk about this initiative, what we can bring to it, what we believe it can be. I think what we can contribute is very interesting because it makes it more active, what we actually can do to give a body to this Buen Vivir.
Great. So if I'm hearing you correctly, the group can just focus on these 3 questions. And if one question is more important or more alive than the other, the group can pick one, doesn't necessarily need to pick all three. I see Matthew nodding. And Fernando, does that meet your need for having something more concrete and more specific?
Honestly, I still think it's too vague. I guess because I'm coming from a university background. What I'm asking is there, were you thinking of having a series of lectures or courses or what? A seminar?
Oh,
Because
I think several steps ahead of
Yeah.
what the concept is.
Yeah.
Well,
not-
as far as I've been talking with Alicia and also another promoter, Claudia, who only speaks Spanish. No, and what I understand from them is that first they want to really keep a global network of those who are committed to the education in social and solidarity economy. But I'm not sure in which form they provide education, like in a case of informal training course, or we really want to set up a master's degree course. So I can't tell you because I'm not Claudia or Alicia. So, but for now, no, we just limit ourselves to set up this network of people who can give courses or training.
And would that fall under the discussion of what is the term university?
Say it again. Would you repeat that, Lee? I'm sorry, there's a noise.
Could that fall under the discussion of how do we define the term or the idea university?
Yeah.
Yeah, last time there was a debate about whether we should use the term university or something. I remember somebody has said something very complicated, but it will be, the thing is that I would have to find up another new term in Japanese for such a new term, and I felt like some intellectuals were playing too much with the concepts.
Well, I think we're starting somewhat the conversation on the group. I've noticed that maybe we should split in the groups and keep the conversation going. Okay. What do you think? I know, Fernando, I hear you wanting more like structure and wanting where we're going, and I think we're a little, like Natalie or someone said, we're one step behind in terms, not behind of late, but behind of seeing the picture. But it's good. It's good to have people like you in the group to remind us of to remind us, okay, where are we going? What's this for? And thank you. Okay, Amicia, I see a connection with that question, and we're also clarifying. Okay, so I will split the groups. Okay, Alicia is back. Okay, let's do one try before splitting. If Alicia, okay, let's see if she comes in. Let's just split, and I have the questions copy here. Sylvia.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you the questions on your WhatsApp. So as you can go in the group and, well, everybody could copy the questions themselves. I'm gonna do it one more time here. Okay, there you go. Everybody who wants, please copy those questions in your desktop someplace or some. And Alicia, we're about to split the groups.
Yeah, go ahead, okay. Go ahead.
All right. So Sylvia, you're the host. You need to, oh wait.
You are co-host.
Yeah, but
do you want me to do?
Host. Sim, me dá aí o host. All right. Me deu aí?
Te dei. Agora você me dá o co-host.
Yes, I'll do the breakout. I'm going to do manually so I can put Camicia, make sure that Camicia is with Luciana, okay? But that's the only thing I'll do. Oh, shit. Sorry, guys, I did just some swearing. Oops.
Alicia, can you turn off the camera, because only with microphone it will work better.
Três, quatro, cinco, seis. Foi. Okay. I'm just doing, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay. You guys can join.
Yeah.
Hey, Natalie, it's so good to see you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hey, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
So which question do you guys feel most drawn to?
Well, first of all, I'd like to know if we can make up a real good list of people who are already joining the list, this project, especially the list of languages that people speak. And this point is very important because, for instance, so far I haven't been able to find anybody who can speak languages, Slavic languages like Russian or Polish. But should we have somebody who can speak such language, and perhaps in the US, we can find some, then we can really ask such people to go working for such a region. And the same is true with the rest of Asian languages.
Okay.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're focusing on kind of the structural, organizational component, Miguel. I'm wondering if that's a conversation that the facilitators can have together, and maybe how to design the next meeting.
Are you asking some help with other language? Like, do you know someone that speaks Russian? We need someone just to spread the news. That's it. Is that what you're trying to talk?
Yeah, but we really have to have, the thing is that we, on one hand, we really want to spread out the idea of solidarity economy to the rest of the world, especially in Russian-speaking countries, and we have problems because nobody speaks Russian, and also, in such countries, people have a very different mindset.
Okay, what do you think about, we can send an email to everyone here that participates in this meeting asking this question, and now we can concentrate in the University of the Buen Vivir, those questions, and perhaps some question that we have, or what do you want to talk about? Do you want to choose one of the questions, or do you want to say something different? I'm very curious what each one of us can contribute to this idea.
Yeah, I can start a little bit. So my name's Stephanie. I live in the United States in Colorado, where it's snowing today. And I'm here with my 2-year-old who has a snow day from school. And I'm a doctoral candidate, and this meeting has made me feel it's been really helpful, because a lot of what we're talking about is what I've been looking into in my literature review. My question at the moment is, what are the containers or institutions that make decolonial pedagogies possible? So I've been looking a lot in my research, and yeah, as a side note, I received an invitation from this meeting, or to this meeting, from Alicia, who I know from my master's program in the University for Peace. My background's in peace education, and she was my professor there. So my interest is peace education and decolonial pedagogies, and then institutions, the question mark, like, is that possible? So yeah, the presentation of the idea of the University of Buen Vivir really, really resonated with what I've been looking into for months now. But I've been sitting here at home doing all of this reading, And it's all felt very theoretical, even though I've also been looking into existing, I have a spreadsheet of different programs and institutions that I've been coming across. But then I have this wondering of, and maybe it comes back to that question of university. And I've seen multiversity and pluriversity used as alternatives to university. But I've also, Manish Jain, who he is one of the founders of Swaraj University in India, talks about using university as a trickster energy, like kind of taking that word that's all of these like colonial connotations and kind of reconfiguring it. But lately my wondering has been around, and it maybe relates to that question of where do we need to start, because my daughter's 2. I've been reading a lot about unschooling and deschooling and just thinking a lot about how my own colonial programming it's just so so ingrained in the school system. I don't know how do you really create an institution that's so different? Because I think like the program that I have milk. Yes, you can have some milk, sweetie. I'll finish up. The program I come from, or that I'm studying in right now, is community liberation, indigenous, and eco psychologies, and so it's very alternative as far as a university program goes, but it's still embedded with all the clutter and coloniality that comes with a university structure. All of that to say, those are kind of where my questions are right now. And I would love to be able to contribute research to this group if it would be helpful. And I'll stop sharing there because I've already shared a lot. Thank you.
Stephanie make me think about when to begin, where to begin. And I'm thinking in a very practical way, like, could you make an oficina? Como se diz oficina, Flávio? Workshop about children education, children solidarity education right now, tomorrow, or next week. Something that we can share a partir from our actual knowledge, because if you wait to have some special, very special knowledge in the future, a lot of children are not going to have access to this information. So maybe we can think something more agile to bring this kind of thinking to a lot of ages, you know. And then we have to map who is able to make something like that, something simple and accessible, and we even can enjoy the process. It's very interesting. For instance, Stephanie studies is making a research on education. And what's your specialty? So you can map the specialties.
Yeah, so my background is peace education. The direction of my doctoral research is decolonial pedagogies and institutionalities.
No,
is ready to talk. Did I see you're taking off your mic, Matt?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm thinking about what I want to say. Still very much like learning it. I mean, I think we're all very much in the same space. Like we're trying to figure out how do these, you know, we're all learning ourselves, and we're trying to open up that learning to others. And so, like, it's too bad David had to leave, because I've been sitting in on the Highlander Center Mapping Our Futures curriculum over the last few weeks, and as a part of an effort, because for my PhD, I'm both studying how Black Southern groups are kind of initiating solidarity economies, but we're trying to get one off the ground, a network off the ground at the same time. So in Virginia, so we've been working a lot with them to think about that. And I think I'll just echo what Stephanie said. Like I think these ideas, especially in working in a very neoliberal context of the university, I just don't see the desire, I don't see the need, the want, or even the ideas. And I think people are just not exposed. I spoke to an economic development person in the city that I live in just about the idea of starting a cooperative, and she just doesn't know anything about that at all. I mean, we just passed state legislation in Virginia that allows worker cooperatives to have legal status. So there's to kind of think about that and then use that as a trickster idea to kind of have to perpetuate other conversations. But I'll just say that the one thing that I've been thinking a lot about is what's the ecology that has to be created to perpetuate solidarity economies. I mean, looking around the US, we've got groups in Boston, like the Ujima Project, doing really good work. We've got this we've got efforts all around the country, but then there's cultural differences between those spaces. But I've been thinking about locally, what's the ecology we have to create, both as a consciousness, but also as a legal framework, as an educational framework to perpetuate these ideas. So I've been just doing some mapping, just piece of paper, drawing out well, if I need a legal framework, who's doing that work around the US, and what would it take to bring some of those ideas to where I live? Because we've got these legal groups like legal aid justice centers that do kind of grassroots rights work, but they're not thinking ahead. They're just responding to immediate needs. So that's another conversation I think that needs to be discussed, is how do we, the moment is demanding immediate response to immediate needs, and to create this ability and this space so that people can think beyond that, I think has been very difficult. So those are just a few thoughts that are going through my head in terms of right now.
Yeah, that resonates with me, from the kind of the micro to the macro, and as well as the urgency of the moment with the long-term plan and as a prior. And then at the same time, colonialism is inside of us. So it's like you are trying to build a ship that you are, or build a plane, you fly while you're building the plane, while you yourself are indoctrinated with how past planes have been working and they're not working well. So it's all of this together. And I think a space where, for me, where people would be willing to even challenge themselves in how they respond would also be very nourishing, because even in our good intent, that's where our impacts sometimes go wrong, right? We have negative impact even if we have good intent. So being in a space where we can ourselves be challenged when we act in a way that the old colonial system or the colonial system or the dominant system has taught us to act. So yeah.
Well, but personally, I'm not. I'm against the use of the word colonial or decolonial, because in some country were used to be a colony of another country. So, for instance, in the U.S., some people might not think that colonialism, it means that British colonialism, which did happen to the U.S. up to the 1776. And in case of when we talk with Korean, they would rather be considered thinking about the Japanese, which finished in 1945. But they got confused between those kind of historical colonialism and the colonialism that we are talking right now. So my idea is to find another expression. No, I'm not against the discussion itself about those kind of colonialism or internal colonialism, but I'd like to use another expression which is which is less confusing.
Yeah, I so appreciate that, and maybe that's our first step to not making this Eurocentric, right, or American centric. Is this change in terminology that would be more fitting to a lot more spaces. So thank you. I think that's exactly the point that I'm trying to make, the shift that we ourselves have to make with our language. Yeah. Would dominant culture be something that resonates with you much more, Miguel, or patriarchy?
For the, I was reading the original invitation letter from the University of Buen Vivir, and I was translating into Japanese, and I really found that a lot of expressions were too difficult for ordinary Japanese, even solidarity economy practitioners. So I really had to rewrite it, and the part of I had to rewrite that kind of colonial, the colonial thing, that nobody is above other people. This is a very simple way to explain what we have in mind without resorting to that kind of the term that intellectuals love.
So is that more about stating the positive of what we're building as opposed to the negative that we're fighting? Is that the point?
Well, it's one point, but another point is that at least on the original letter, I found a lot of expressions which are only used among in the debate among intellectuals. And solidarity economy practitioners aren't necessarily interested, they don't necessarily identify themselves with such kind of, metaphysical, sometimes metaphysical, debates.
Miguel, do you have that word? Do you have a proposal? Did you write it? But you think you have to rewrite?
Yeah, so I really had to rewrite it, and I did it in English, in Japanese and Spanish. So at least, Sylvia, you can understand it.
Yeah, can you say it?
Once I leave your email and I'll send it. So you leave your email at the chat window, and I'll send it to you right away.
Okay. But can you put it in the chat? Yeah. Because I think I will make some mess if I leave
put in
here.
The chat, we can copy.
I think it's brilliant to just be aware that when we talk about against something, this something is with us. So if we could just imagine something different and go toward, I think it would be incredible. So we can begin with changing words. Language is so important, even to those who doesn't know the importance of language that constructs our thoughts and afterwards our reality. So it's a good wonderful, wonderful way of beginning. And I think we could make an effort, because I think it's our nature. We who are here attracted by the thought of university, of studying and of researching, it's our nature. And I think we have to make an effort to make it real. So we can make this effort, making it real through our words and through our behavior. We are going to have this meeting, and we are going to face some relationships or some defiance of the day by day. And maybe we react too different in the real world than in the perfect world, than the world of ideas. I'm being a little philosophic because that's my way. So I'm just trying to contribute to understand that we are making the airplane while trying to fly, as Natalie said. So this proposal of consciousness of the language and the behavior everywhere and at the worst circumstances is a good beginning to make the knowledge from inside out. And so maybe we have the facility to gain the knowledge from out inside. It's the nature of the knowledge that's put it's a lot of knowledge now that we have access, but maybe the powerful one is to construct the knowledge inside out. I don't know if I'm expressing myself. I think I will shut up.
I just what Matthew said about mapping, and one thing that hits me strong is we have so much being done already, so many people who are, it's just like, it feels like we're all like here and we don't connect and we don't work together. And so sometimes I question, do we need to come up with something new, like a new University of Buen Vivir? You know, there's so much already. And and I think there's, like you said about the legal, I think about the financial aspect. All the NGOs and social projects, they're like eating up the money, like, where's the money? Where's the money? And everybody's competing the same way somewhat. It's hard to see partnership, at least here in Brazil, among NGOs, real partnership. All NGO, oh, that's my belief. They're so rightness, like, oh yes, Paulo Freire founded, and that's how we work. We cannot mix with some other institution if we don't know if they're real. There's a sense of purity and separation among social movements, I think, somehow. So I think I really would love like all this mapping, like local mapping, like what here among right here, like 100 kilometers, what's happening here? Let's make meetings there. That's, if there's a University of Buen Vivir, I see it more as a space of gathering all that's happening towards this new paradigm that we don't know what it is. We cannot see, we are blind. I love it. We're just like this. Wait, there is something here. I know. I know. Right. I can feel it. Smells good, but I've never tasted, you know? So anyway, I love those more mapping of what's already happening and more joint actions, more joint, like, I really like what Miguel said about all these levels. Anyway, we have one more minute and we're supposed to make a summary when we go back.
Hope somebody took notes. But I wanted to offer, like, for contribution, if you guys need assistance with designing the meeting or facilitating the meeting, that's the contribution that I'm able to make. If you guys need support, or if Alicia needs support with that, or if the team needs support with that.
I would say yes. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm English speaking or whatever. Someone also, I love people when they offer themselves. It's so much more real.
Yeah.
Okay. I took some notes, but I don't know what you were saying before, and we can add up.
You want to summarize what you have?
I have. We said something about how we are, I think coming from Stephanie, the thing about how we're trying to create something that we already embedded in. This is a big challenge. And how I think the importance of some unschooling and this schooling, and looking at how education is being done, that we need to be attentive of how we work with children. I see also there's different levels of mapping out, you know, there's conscious, you know, something about the ecology, like what is all the ambience of it, like consciousness, legal aspects, financial aspects, there's cultural aspects, so and how that impact. Also, I saw the effect of the word, we discussed a little bit about the word decolonialism, how maybe we could look for another expression that is not so Eurocentric, and it's more positive, and it seems like more of an intellectual expression. And then something about bringing to our daily lives the change, and we talk here and how we can transfer what we're talking in our day-to-day small actions, something like that. I don't know. Is it something like that? I don't know if I can say that again.
You did great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay, if you guys can add up if I don't say it. Okay, we need to go back. We are being, let's leave, huh?
Yeah.
It's time to leave.
Oh yeah, we just went over 2 minutes.
Let me share just one idea to you with you. The idea of the University of the Buen Vivir, where can offer. She's gone. Can offer services, practical services like making support to what Matthew said as legal questions and making support to another actions. Offer support, intellectual support. Bye-bye.
Those from another group are still having their own discussions, so we have to wait until they come back.
So we can keep talking.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if they're waiting on the presenter to end the meeting, on the host to end the meeting. Flavia, you're on mute.
They are on the, they have 20 seconds to go. They have 1 minute warning and they're using all up.
20 seconds.
They're gonna come in 10 seconds now.
I was writing down something here. UBV can offer philosophical knowledge, tools, and spaces to promote meeting and actions towards a solidarity economy. Solidarity.
Hello, here we are.
Hello.
Oh, it's a pity because we are in a very good discussion.
Yeah.
We need more time, but yeah. Very good group. How was your experience? Miguel, I saw you in a very big picture, very handsome Japanese, young.
Well, not that young already.
Well, you look like, you look quite young.
People say that, East Asians look younger, but I'm already 44 years old.
Oh my God, you're still young.
Well, so, I was born when the dictatorship began there in Argentina.
Ah, well, what citizenship begins in Argentina?
Mm-hmm. No, I was born in the very year you started to live under the dictatorship there in Argentina.
But 40, how old are you, Miguel?
44.
My God, I would say 28. I was sure about that. So, my God, okay, right. Okay, so, well, are all the groups here now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a secretary in our group, so we shall ask our secretary to tell what we have done, that it is Kathleen. Kathleen, can you help us? And we are going to help you. Okay?
Sure. Yes, I can.
Thank you.
So we really actually ended up discussing the third question about why using the term university. And so Boyd began by kind of reiterating that question, saying not that it shouldn't be called that, but it doesn't really convey the spirit of the ideas proposed from his perspective. And so are we proposing a current challenge to the current meaning of the university? And if so, that's worthy, but constant confusion. And so then Alicia responded that the same question came up in the World Social Forum, and it was discussed and people disagreed and defended it. But basically, at the end of the day, using the word for two reasons. One, because people have an idea of what it is, and that a university is the place that collects and creates knowledge. And so to use the word university helps people understand what we're trying to do. But that also, it is kind of a challenge to start questioning the way the current university works, but it's easier to use this term as a starting point. And Luciana brought up the point that it's important to think about how it's not just that knowledge is constructed at other sites, not just at the university, and also at different levels in education, not just the university level. And so the university needs change, but change is needed in all those levels. And then Fernando made the point that he agrees it's a term that's easy to understand, and brought up the example of I think it was the University of Gastronomic Science in Italy, the slow food movement, and that it's just very kind of specific what they're doing. So if we could narrow our aims, it would be easier for people to grasp. So we need to have a very clear idea of like what is meant by University of Buen Vivir. I think, I mean, I don't know how detailed you want me to be here. Luciana also noted that they're Vientos del Sur. I don't know if that's a school or an organization, but it's kind of introduced, what they're doing is kind of specifically aimed at addressing all these other levels of education. And then Camicia also had a question about the decision to use this
Vientos
word.
del Sur.
And brought up the point that it connotes a certain age, right? So like 18 to 22-year-olds, and that at a recent conference she was at, the point was brought up that youth often aren't considered a part of knowledge construction. So what are we, like, how does that fit into this? And Alicia responded that that's a good point, and that kind of the idea is that there isn't any age limit, right? You could have someone who's 80 years old with someone who's 30 years old and a high school student, and kind of bringing people together from all different ages and cross-continental, which is what Ben was talking about before we got cut off, and that's all we got to.
Thank you. Very good.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We talked about many things. How do the challenge institution so different if you're embedded with the clutter of the current system, the importance of schooling and deschooling, and so how do we initiate now to reach to our children and not wait for a plan in the future, how we need to do something now. So that brought up the aspect of flying and trying to build a new airplane that is not like the airplane that we are in flying. So the challenge of creating this new structure that, while at the same time being inside one that we don't want to model, use as a model. So the importance of mapping out different locally, what is the ecology to make that happen. So in terms of consciousness, in terms of legal framework, so we understand how we can support that locally and what is the ecology of it. That was also a question about the word of decolonizing, decolonism, that we may want to find another expression. This is Eurocentric. And there was discussion about stating something maybe more positive, and that this expression is more used among the intellectuals. And so we talked about also the challenge of using the language to be careful of how daily basis, small steps on how we can interact in a way already bringing change with our what we do in our daily lives, and the challenge of how to we have already so much happening in the same field of Buen Vivir, and we're just how we can map this out and work. Sometimes they fight over the financial support and they don't really work together, and they have so much great stuff happening. So I think that's it. Group, do you want to add up?
Me?
No? No, our group. Our group. Is it something that I missed? I don't know. Is it all right?
I think
Well,
you said it.
Okay.
well, what I mean is the word the colonial can be interpreted wrongly in some countries. For instance, in the Philippines, the word can be interpreted as an anti-Spanish movement.
Yes.
Because the Philippines used to be a Spanish colony up to 1898.
Yeah, but Miguel, we have, after our first meeting in English, that it was present, in that meeting, it was present Boyd, and it is here, Boyd Rosin, and it was present Natalie also, Natalie Alciud, no? I don't know if Natalie is here now, but she was in the first meeting and in the second one, no? And we discussed a lot about decolonial, that you say that it is not understood as in Asia, for example, as in Latin America. But then I was, I am a history professor as well, no? My first title in the university. And so I was exploring about this term decolonial and asked to different people. And in general, the people understands what it means. Decolonial means to try to put on a side your past of as a colony. And then you can be a colony of the Japanese, like in South Korea, or you can be a colony of the Germans in Africa, or you can be a colony of the Spanish and Portuguese, like in Latin America, no? Or a colony of England, United Kingdom, wherever, everywhere, because United Kingdom has colonies everywhere as well. So, I mean, the term decolonial, of course, it means different empires, but the people understand that decolonial means to talk in a different way, challenging those countries that had been dominating the others.
Yeah,
You
but
understand what I mean?
yeah, I know. But what I mean is that depending on your own history, people tend to think about fighting against your former colonial powers. So Filipino might think about anti-Spanish movement, maybe for instance. Ukraine people from Ukraine may think about fighting against Russia, or maybe for instance, so on. But what I mean, this kind of perspective can be confusing because right now, when you go to the Philippines, you can't find any. Let me finish. When you go to the contemporary Philippines, you won't see any Spanish company ruling the Filipino economy. Or when you go to, for instance, I don't think Ukrainian economy is ruled by Russia anymore. So so we have to be very
The decolonial word is
and also it's important. Some countries were never colonized. So when you talk about with Turks, this word makes no sense. We never were a colony. So what is we don't have to be decolonized.
Well, sorry to tell you, Miguel, sorry to tell you, but frankly, I don't want to make this a personal discussion at all. But frankly, I think that all the planet is colonized in a way. I mean, because to be colonized doesn't mean that you have an army of another country in your country. You know that we are following Galton, we are colonized by culture. And then all the, suppose, the European culture or the Western European culture or the North American culture or whatever. So that's another issue that we can discuss. But anyway, I think that these words that are difficult to understand, as Miguel had said in the other meeting and now repeating that, for example, decolonize is difficult. or what is a university? And then there are people that here in the chat are saying, Kathleen, and then it's Oko, that said that perhaps it's better to write school and to use school and not university, no? Well, I think that we have to choose the words, and then after choosing the words, to define the words. I mean, in the concept paper of the university have to be definitions. And then in that definition, we have the clarification. So we say, suppose, I am not, but we say, this is the Good Living University, right? So that means good living, and then we say what we think it is good living. And we choose the word university because And if we use decolonial, that we don't know till now, we have been using it, but depends finally what the people thinks. If we use that, then we say we use decolonial because this university tries to go against the empires that show power everywhere or whatever. So I mean that using the clarification in the concept papers helps people to go ahead with this, because if not, we are going to be all our lives discussing about the words that we are using in the university.
Because, sorry, but for me, it's very, very important, because when I talk with the Japanese, they will never understand the word decolonization, because this kind of concept is out of the Japanese mindset. And this can be true with the Thai, with the Turks.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
Yes, because I already talked with another Japanese, and she already said that the term decolonial is too away from the.
Okay, we are not going to. Yeah, okay, I understand, because I have heard you before. So we are not going to stop because of the word. I mean, we can change the word, we can explain the word, we can rub out the word. But what we are not going, I suppose, what we are not going to put on aside is the issue that this university or school or whatever the name is going to struggle against power that dominated the people. Okay? And
we can find another expression without using the word colonial or decolonial.
Okay.
Personally, I like the term decolonization, because there's always a possibility that we allow ourselves to be dominated by an external force when we think. And I think even Europeans would say somehow they feel they're being colonized by American ways.
Yeah, they use that.
Yes.
Particularly after the Second World War. Yeah. They think they are colonized by the Americans, North Americans.
Koha colonization.
Yeah.
I saw Camicia raise her hands, and then I also wanted to interject.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I really like this discussion, and if I could just kind of like summarize maybe what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing possible from that. So I totally get actually what Miguel is saying. And although for me, colonization is very, and the decolonized idea is very, present. Like I'm from a country that, you know, it was still a colony when my aunts and uncles were born. It was just barely a country when my mom was born, etc. So I hold that close to my heart. But even so, I acknowledge that if people hear that, they might think too nationalistically and not globally. Right. So like, I think that even when people, because I agree that we have all been colonized to in different ways, and that it's a global phenomenon, I do think that the way that it resonates, just like the word, can strike really differently. And I feel like that's what like Miguel is bringing up for us. And I think it's really important to consider maybe like if we could pair the word decolonize with another word, looking at Fernando's sort of definition, and also just thinking as people were talking, I was thinking if it could have like the word free or liberatory or something in there as well, just to really emphasize that it's about like the freeing of ourselves. And then lastly, I worry that when we use decolonize, and we are talking to academics, and we're talking to people who have a certain like educational background or a certain sort of like social class maybe. And I wonder about how much we want to be doing that and how much we don't, I guess, yeah.
And what I wanted to add also is this type of conversation, right, is what we want to have, right?
Yeah.
Without all of us bringing from all of our perspective and where we are rooted, our education, our past, that experience. So it isn't a matter of choosing, it's a matter of converging. And maybe something to have as the next topic of discussion is just kind of a process by which we will have these discussions. So we're not using our own power, which is part of the dominant framework, to extinguish or put aside other people's opinion, but we figure out a process that draws in and helps with the sense of curiosity to hear more about what we each believe and figure out, well, what is that point that really brings us together, while we're wrestling with all of these different perspectives from our different perspectives. So we don't yet have a process on how to make decisions and how we want to have these debates. And so maybe that also could help support having these conversations.
Okay.
I love it. Oh, the plate almost fell, sorry. I just want to be the time reminder. It's 6 minutes to 1. And I love what Natalie said about us thinking more thoroughly about how we hear, how we hear each other. Yeah. So I need to go at 1 p.m. So if anybody wants to stay longer, we can pass the host, maybe, I don't know. Or should we finish at 1?
No, Flavia, we have decided before, sorry to tell you and to be hard, that we are going to end the meeting. And if it is a need, we are going to invite to the next meeting to all the people that wants to continue, because in a way, as Natalie had said, this is a way to work in the Good Living University or Good Living School, I mean, to exchange the ideas and to converge, no? So I think that the best is to try to meet again to discuss the main points of the Good Living University, but not only terms, in the sense, in this case, university and decolonial, but also the idea. Is it really what we fail here, or we don't approach to the idea of, if you agree that it is a good idea, that it is a need to have this kind of university, that it is the heart of the thing, no? Of course, the words and what do we think about the words is important, but more important is if we really think that this is useful, I mean, what we are trying to make. And that is what we have to discuss as well, isn't it?
Yes.
So my proposal is to meet again, not very far. If you want the same time and the same day next week, and we continue this, but talking about the need or not, the urgency or not, to have a good living university. And of course, the discussion in English, no? We are making in another languages. Do you agree with that, or do you have another idea? Or what do you think? Or we can exchange by email, and we have all your emails now. What is your proposal?
Yeah, having a good
I hear a movement here of Natalie, Camicia, and Matthew trying to be helpful about how to create a process and discussion format. I also heard Miguel saying about finding another time. And I was thinking if at night wouldn't be better, because then we get the Americas, it will be midday. You know, I'm thinking if we can find, and then we can get New Zealand, that will be in the morning. You see what I'm saying? Because if you get at 7 a.m., will be 3 a.m. for people in California. I don't know. So I'm thinking if we can do it at night, then I think just will be a little more improv. Will be like if we do it 7 p.m.
So no, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Brasilia means 11 p.m. Spain. So it's still okay for me.
For me, this time is okay.
It's
and
manageable.
7 p.m. And 7 p.m. Brazil means Brasilia means 8. Let me calculate. So
Barcelona midnight. Barcelona midnight.
I don't know.
And 6 a.m.
Nairobi, Kenya, one in the morning. One.
Oh, I don't know if it's good. I'm thinking out loud. I don't know what time. I don't know if we can decide that. Should we make like a small group, like Natalie? I don't know if you guys want to to think about a date and.
So I'm feeling like, I mean, unless people are not interested, but this should be decided collaboratively. I mean, we could make a session around, you know, the agreements we have amongst each other around how we want to manage, you know, the conversations, decisions. And Alicia, I offered the other ones support with facilitation. Just want to offer that, and meeting design if you want support with that.
Okay, sorry, I have to leave. Look, I put here that I have students that they are ringing me because they are waiting me, because I think that we are going to end in half an hour, and now we are 2 hours. So I agree. Please let us know what you prefer to do, to meet again, to meet in small groups directly. I would say another meeting and starting in small groups directly, and then joining together, no? But let me know that, and I think it had to be next week. I mean, it had to be soon. I don't know if you think so.
Alicia, I really think it's better for us to meet face to face rather than writing. It's always there's more dynamism generated through face to face discussions.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you to meet face to face, at least in these first steps, no? So
it will be next week in the same time.
Same time, same day.
Next week.
Let's make the day in a week, and if it is same time, it's
2 November. 2nd November.
Okay. I have to leave.
It's okay for you?
I don't know.
Decide the day, and then we'll put the timing and send an email to all of them, all right? To all of you. Is it okay?
Yeah, but so we are not going to expand to more people right now. We're going to keep the same group if we keep the same time. That's my feeling.
I would say same time, same day.
Okay, so we're just acknowledging maybe we need to the next meeting think on another time with more time, maybe. I don't know. I'm just thinking if you want to expand to other.
I don't think that's it. I don't know. Okay. So decide, please.
What do you think? I think it would be wonderful to carry on this rich discussion and work together. So if you all can be together next week, 2nd November, at the same time, can you?
And then we think then with more time, alternative times, that's what it is? I'm just asking if.
Yeah, the next meeting we can discuss think about different times.
Okay, I'm gonna send you here the link now of all the contacts. Please copy it. I'm just gonna do it right now on the chat before we go. There's an Excel sheet that I made. It was started last meeting. You have all the contacts there from the previous meeting and today's meeting, okay? So you have their access to the Excel. So whoever wants to talk and offer ideas, it's there. We can exchange and take initiative. You all copy the Excel link? It's okay? Yeah, okay. Copy, save that, because once we are done, it takes a few days, I think, for Alicia to send the email. I think it's Alicia who sends the summary of the meeting. And she takes sometimes a few days. Okay, I don't know.
Right. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Silvia, você tem um minuto? Just first, vamos falar só nós duas rapidinho. Então, eu tenho que sair correndo, mas vamos falar rápido, 2 minutos. Achei ótimo, o pessoal está falando mais, né? Tem que realmente separar esse início da Silvia, da Alicia falando. É um cu, porque tem sempre gente nova. Eu acho isso muito chato, o tempo todo o mesmo slide, com o mesmo. Eu acho que tem que pensar em um. Tá no mudo, tá no mudo.
Esse grupo já está engajado. A gente precisa continuar com ele separado de novos grupos. Quando for a apresentação, é o nome da apresentação.
Isso, boa, Silvia. Eu acho que a gente tem que separar isso, senão fica. Então, acho que segundo, acho que a gente podia ver que isso já é um grupo e vai entrando. Na medida que a pessoa passa pela apresentação, ela podia ser uma coisa assim.
Sim. Aí pensando, agora já está, de repente vai chegar a hora de pensar em formatos, Flávia, em formatos de grupo de trabalho real. Tipo assim, talvez esteja sendo, mas eu acho que já vai chegar a hora de fazer oficina, porque assim, a hora de conhecer a campanha, a gente vai precisar ter eventualmente encontros específicos para, você não conhece nada? Então está aqui. E até ter no site também. E outra coisa são os grupos para dar andamento no pensamento, né?
Sim.
Tá bom. Eu copiei o chat 1 milhão de vezes.
Não, olha só, o que eu fiz, eu recortei, eu vou mandar um e-mail para você.
Eu não tirei nenhum.